So, welcome or welcome back. Today we're talking about why you need to become a morning person. Motivation, if you're still on the fence or still struggling to get up early, I'm going to go through 7 benefits to getting up really early, things that I have found. This is what has helped me. The first is that if you wake up early, it means that work isn't your whole life. I work from home, so it would be very easy for me to just get out of bed at like 8:30 or whatever. I definitely did used to do this. I used to like scroll a lot on my phone in the morning. I knew it didn't really set me up for a good day. Not always. Sometimes you do just want to like scroll through reels or scroll through Twitter, but like generally that's not really a good habit that I want to get into and that I want to be doing every morning. It's very easy for me to just get up, like I said, half an hour, or even like, you know, when I was a student, I would get up 10 minutes before my lecture started and then like run to the lecture. This is not good on many fronts. Like, where is your preparation? Where is the time to be grounded in the morning? Where is time to yourself, which is the main thing? But also, like, why are you wanting to be stressed and running around and being like, oh my gosh, I'm now, you know, going to be late for this thing or not going to have enough time. All that to say, the big benefit of waking up early is that it means work is not your whole life. If I wake up at 6 or if I wake up at 7, I have at least 2 whole hours there in my day that are not dominated by work. And I know it's very different because I work from home, but there is still a way to do this. If you have to get up early to go to work, you can be like, I'm going to give myself like a pocket of time in the morning where you read or you write or you meditate. We're going to go through some of the things. I feel like by the time I start work, if I've woken up early, I've lived like a whole mini day, because it's like, okay, I'll do some meal prep for today. I'll go for a walk with the dog, or I'll sit outside and look at the sky. I'll do some meditating. I'll read like a couple chapters of my book. Maybe I'll listen to a podcast while I'm preparing my food. I do so many different things in the morning, and it helps to remind me that work is not the only reason to get up in the morning. And especially if it's going to be a difficult day at work, or it's going to be boring, or it's going to be, you know, challenging. And sometimes that challenge can be good, right? It's good to have a job that you feel like you're growing and learning new things, but that can also be quite emotionally difficult sometimes. So waking up early, it's reminding me my whole day doesn't revolve around work. And this is tricky because maybe your day does, especially if you're commuting, so you're out of the house for a long time. Almost then it's even more important to give yourself time in the morning, at least enough time that you're not rushing to get ready and not like already stressed before you even get on the train to go to work. I found it really helpful to remind myself that work is not the most important thing. It's very important and I'm grateful for my job and for the money that it earns me, but it's not the most important thing. And it also means if I'm waking up early, I almost get like my own time to bookend the work day. So instead of like getting out of bed at 8, getting ready for work and then working and then finishing at 5 and then having just time in the evening, if I wake up early, I've got time in the morning and time in the evening, and it makes work seem smaller. It doesn't have to be a huge amount of time, but it does do something to shift my perspective around work, to give it the space that it needs, and it takes up the majority of the day, but I don't have to give it any more space than that, and I can still do things in the morning and also after work. So this is a big benefit to me for waking up early. The next thing is that you will feel accomplished straight away. You will wake up early and get up and be like, yes, already I've done something. If this is like a habit you're developing, you're like, already I've done something great today. Like, already I've done something different. I'm forming a new habit, or I've got up early to go to the gym or to do some meditating, some yoga. Like, already you're changing something and things are shifting. It's a really nice energy to be in. You kind of feel quite smug about it. You're like, oh yes, I'm now going for my morning walk, and then I will come back and make like a cooked breakfast because I've got the time, because I've given myself like an extra hour this morning by waking up earlier. By the time you sit down for work, it's like, oh, I've read, I've showered, I've been for a walk, I've walked the dog, I said hello to the neighbours. You just sit and feel so accomplished, and it gives you momentum for the day. Another big reason to start getting up earlier is that it can help you sleep better, and it's really good to get sunlight in the morning. Apparently this is good for your brain to like realize it's daytime, like time to wake up. So if you can get outside, even if it's a gloomy day, it's still going to be better than just staying in your room with the light on. Try and get some natural light early in the morning, but also because you're waking up early, it is eventually going to help you sleep better. At least I found this once I adjust to like the new sleep schedule. Yes, I may have to wake up really early, and I'm used to going to bed at like 11, and all of a sudden then I wake up at 6 and I'm like, wow, I'm tired, because I'm used to sleeping 8 hours and now I've only got 7 hours. But once you get into a rhythm of it, it's going to help you sleep better, because by the end of the day you've woken up so early that you're like, yeah, time for bed now. Like, I'm not only emotionally exhausted, or, you know, not only happy with the day has gone and all the work I've done, but also I'm really physically tired because I've been up for like 2 extra hours than what I'm normally used to. Another really important thing that I've found, like another beneficial reason to get up early, is that it gives you time to ground yourself spiritually before the day gets started. So I mentioned earlier, like doing some kind of meditation or yoga. This is one of those things that I know how much it helps to feel like just settled in my body, and yet it's something that I can put down or be like, oh, it's not that important. But even just 5 minutes, if you put a timer on your phone and be like, I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes, and just become mindful of your thoughts, don't engage with them, but just notice, like, what am I worrying about? Oh, look, I'm going down this rabbit hole of like thinking this thing, maybe you've got something at work happening and you're already ruminating on it or planning or stressing, just don't try and engage with that. If you notice yourself running away with it, just pull back and be like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Like, I'm very stressed about that. I knew I was stressed about that, but I don't have to think about that now. We're just trying to like be mindful and be in the present. It's quite weird to explain it like how I just explained it. It sounds strange, but if you actually get into the habit of doing this, it's like you're centered and then all of these things are like flowing around you in your head, and you just like every time you follow a thread or you get like caught up in whatever anxiety or whatever worry or stress or pain or anger, whatever you're feeling, you just like gently reel it back in and like come back to now. And it's such a powerful thing. Even just to do this for 5 minutes, highly recommend. But also if you want to do any prayer or have like a spiritual quiet time, have like your devotionals that you read or your Bible or whatever, it's so good. And hopefully you already do something like this. You could go for a walk, try and tune in to your surroundings and ground yourself. You can like start picking out how many different sounds can I hear on this walk, or how many different colors can I see in the sky and the clouds as the sun is coming up and the sky is changing color. You can listen to some quiet music, like some piano music or some like quiet jazz music as you make breakfast and reflect and just take things slowly. You could sit outside and have a cup of tea, just giving yourself space to connect with something bigger than yourself, to pray or to meditate, like I say, and just be quiet and be still. Starts the day off with this patient, grounded energy, which I think is really helpful to get you through the day. And sometimes that evaporates immediately, like once you start work and something happens and it's like, oh, I can react really impulsively and be like, oh, what happened to all that nice grounding work I did this morning? Like it's just gone like that. But I still think it's valuable, and even just becoming aware of that and noticing straight away like, oh, I did all that work and I'm now angry. Another huge benefit of waking up really early is it's quiet. Go for a walk or just sit outside. And obviously this will depend where you live, because if you live in a busy city it may not be quiet, but it's probably quieter. Go for a walk and notice the kind of people you'll see. Runners, you'll see people with their backpacks heading to their commute, you'll see other people walking their dogs, you'll see that there's not so many cars. It's just quieter. It feels a lot more peaceful. It feels like the day is just getting started. And as well, if you live with other people, if you're getting up earlier, you still have quiet space, like the house is still quiet, so you can just sit quietly and read with your windows open, listen to the birds, play your music quietly, and you don't have to, at least for me, this as an introvert is a massive plus. It's like, oh, I don't have to engage with anyone yet. I can just create like this nice space and just exist, and there's no like pressure to do anything or to be anywhere. It's more time for yourself, and there's something luxurious about spending time like that in the morning, as opposed to, I don't know if you've heard of revenge bedtime procrastination. It's basically this idea that if you don't have a lot of control of your time during the day, you will stay up really, really late when everything is quiet, because you finally feel like you have time to yourself where you can just listen to music with your big headphones on. This is what I like to do, but I don't like to do that during the day, because it's like, what if someone wants me? So they're gonna either scare me when they walk in and I've got my headphones on, or they're gonna be annoyed because they're like calling me and I'm not replying because I've got my headphones on. So like sometimes I can stay up. Actually, this is what I've been doing recently, which is not good, but staying up really late just listening to music with my big headphones because I love it so much. But revenge bedtime procrastination, yes, it's nice to have that space to stay up, but like I can also do that in the morning. I can also wake up early and put my big headphones on and listen to music, and that can also be a grounding thing depending on what I'm listening to. You know, if I put something like peaceful and reflective on, it feels like more, not productive because I don't really want to say that word, but it just feels nicer to give that space in the morning. It feels like I'm giving myself time, whereas if I stay up really late listening to music, let's say, it feels like I'm taking something away from my future self, because I'm like, I know I'm going to be a bit more tired when I wake up tomorrow because I've stayed up later than I would have done, just because I'm loving listening to music, and that's great and I love it so much. But I can do it the other way around, so that I'm not like taking time away or taking like energy away from my future self, and instead I'm like giving myself the gift of like waking up early. I know that sounds really dramatic, but I hope you see what I mean. Another really big benefit that I've been noticing is that you have time to be creative if you wake up early. I will say I am a night owl and I do enjoy staying up late, and especially if I'm in the flow with something, like if I'm writing something or if I'm editing, like it is nice to then maintain that and keep that going and stay up late. But I'm finding maybe there's more benefits to waking up early and being creative. I don't know if, especially on the days that I'm working, if that acts as like a little bit of motivation. If I wake up at like 7 and I know I have to start work at 9, so I know by 8 I need to like be kind of getting ready for the day. But if I wake up at 7, I'm like, I want to do an hour of whatever creative work, whether it's drawing or writing or doing some editing, like some videos like this. Having the work starting at 9, it almost like, it's not to do with pressure. I've carved out a space for myself to be creative in the morning. It's like I've got an hour. I don't have to do anything specific. I can just like go with the flow a bit more, and it feels again, more luxurious, but it's also, there feels like so many different options. And if you give yourself that space, instead of like trying to plan out your whole morning, you might be like, oh yeah, I'm suddenly seized by the urge to draw a bit, or to like write a little poem, or to go for a walk and take some pretty pictures of the sky, which we're going to talk about in a second, to like make some collages on Pinterest. Like, it doesn't have to be like, oh, so creative. Like, it just, whatever you feel drawn to. Like, maybe today you woke up early and you're like, hey, let's do some different makeup, like do some different eye makeup or whatever, do your hair different, paint your nails in the morning, or just like put some things away, reorganize your bookshelves. Like, just giving yourself the space and the permission to be creative by waking up a little bit earlier. I've been finding it really interesting, just leaving that space and seeing what I feel drawn to do that morning. The next reason to wake up early, I did mention it at the end of that last point there, is that the sky will be so pretty. In the northern hemisphere, we're going into winter. Sunrise is getting later and later. This is actually a great time if you want to try and start getting up earlier, just in this one respect, because I know it's going to get more difficult when, you know, if you want to wake up at 6 and it's going to be dark. I mean, it already is, but a big plus of this, because we can find the positives in things. Like, we can acknowledge the negatives and the things that are difficult, but we can also find positives. And one big positive is that you'll be able to see the sky change colour, and you'll be able to look at the clouds, or maybe there's no clouds, maybe it's a really clear, crisp morning, or maybe you see the clouds go from like this silvery to just like boring grey clouds when the sun is up, but you can't see the sun because it's cloudy. Or maybe there's like clouds going across and you can see the blue of the sky change from like faded blue in the morning into a brighter daytime blue. Just noticing these little things. I talk about the little things a lot. It's because they make a big difference to bring you into the present moment and appreciate where you are, instead of comparing yourself to others, or, you know, focusing on the things you wish were different. The little things can really ground you, and one of those things is looking at the sky. It's really helped me. Like, for example, last October, I got up really early. I think it was around literally this time last year, actually, like the end of September, beginning of October, and I went to the park, and I can't remember why I was getting up so early, but anyway, it was literally still pitch black but the stars were out. It got light really quickly, and there were other people out with their dogs, so it was maybe like 7 or whatever. It was such a, I don't want to say spiritual experience, but quite surreal to be out in the dark, but also to see it get light so quickly. And like, we could see the stars, and like the moon was still really bright, and then as we were walking it got lighter, and, you know, the sun rose and it was then daytime. But just that transition, and obviously don't do anything unsafe. It was such an amazing experience, and even now I'm like, oh yes, I am excited to wake up early to recreate that. Maybe not like super early, maybe I'll wait until like November to do this, because then the sun will be rising later. But, you know, like stuff like that, and just looking at the sky, it's another really grounding thing for me. And especially looking at the stars, I found that to be such a healing thing. Again, such a small thing, but just looking up and being like, yeah, it's okay, like my problems are very small even though they feel really big. These things are all very small. Aside from any of those like deeper spiritual things, it's just pretty. You just look up, you're like, oh wow, look, the sky has gone pink and orange, or oh wow, look at the stars, look at the moon. I think it's really cool. So I hope this video has given you some motivation to get out early. There are so many reasons, and I hope at least a few of these that I've mentioned on this list have resonated with you. Please share your experiences of waking up early below. Are you a night owl? Are you an early bird? Are you also someone who loves looking at the sky? Do you like to meditate and have like a spiritual quiet time in the morning? Please share your experiences in the comments below, because we can all learn from each other. We're all very different. Thank you so much for watching. I will leave my other video about waking up early, how to become a morning person, 6 tips to get up at 6 a.m. I will leave that on the screen, and I will also let the YouTube algorithm pick another video that it thinks you might like. So if you want to check out either of those, please do so. I hope they help you. God bless. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.